Welcome to the 134th episode of Sawdust Nation. My name is not Josh, Nick, or Nap. My name is AJ with a capital A to the J. And that's actually not my legal name. It's Anthony Joseph for all you wanted to know out there. I wanted to introduce these lovely guys that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the one, the only Josh from North Country Woodworking. And then I'm looking at Nick, who does not have a mustache anymore because that mustache creeped the hell out of me. Nick from NPG Creations in slightly a different room this time. I don't recognize this room. It looks like it's his bourbon collection behind him. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this episode on the 134th episode. I don't know why it just put two THs in there. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Josh and find out how the hell Josh has been. Because I haven't talked to you in a long time, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. Life's been hectic, I think, for everybody nowadays. With that, the shop is picking up pace. With this 3-day weekend, definitely helped out quite a bit. Getting in there and producing some projects. I'm not going to lie. I did spend some family time in with the family, doing some fun stuff. And then I kind of rolled it all into a couple days at the end, just so I can catch up and knock out as much as I could. And that included a couple CNC flags. And funny story with this one. So if you ever use your CNC where, you paint, a piece of board and you produce a carving on there to make a flag. If you ever do any fine detail like a badge or anything, sometimes if you're not careful, you don't get the depth just right. It kind of messes it up. You got to be really fine tuned. So before I started this, I leveled my bed knowing that, it's been a minute. I've had some moisture content land on it, and I know for a fact it was on level. So I took care of that. I let it dry the first day. Second day, I come back. I actually just posted the reel today where I'm cutting out a plaque. And I tell you, that thing was dead flat. And then when I went to go CNC, it was dead flat. It was even cut all the way around, at least from the eye, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you know what? These flags are going to come out great. I'm not going to have to worry about them whatsoever. I do the first flag. Stars are just a little bit off. I'm like, okay, I could still run with this. And went to start cutting the actual logo into the paint. And I'm like, it's off. It's immediately off. I'm like, what am I going to do? So, sometimes we call mistakes features, right? Well, sometimes I call those upgrades. So I call the client and I'm like, hey, you know what? You've been ordering for me for a while now. This is like your third, fourth order. I like to upgrade your piece. Instead of just carving into the flag itself, I would like to do a laser etch cherry piece where the badge usually goes and have that pop. I think so really bring this project together, i.e. not having to worry about the carve on the CNC. Now I can do all the laser and glue it on, right? And they absolutely love the idea. And I have never really done anything like this. So it actually hit a couple of points for me, right? So I hit the fact that, I was having a little bit of trouble, getting the depth right just so that it would carve nice. Because I always want these to be perfect rolling out, right? That's the goal here. And it allowed me to skip that process, which can, be lengthy. I mean, it's when you carve great detail with the CNC, time comes into play here. So I was able to cut that down, go and get some cherry, resaw it, get it flat, get it into the laser, get it, nice and engraved, cut it out with the laser, and I pasted it right on. And I tell you what, saved me plenty of time. I think it looks much better than a, normal CNC engraving. And I think I just might, with this particular customer, keep the same price point, but offer that service going forward, especially if they like it. Because, it's just much faster. Let's just face it. Yeah, it's a little bit more extra cost because I'm using a different species of wood. But you know what? And a little bit more processing. But sanity-wise, it was just sweet. It's one of those things where once it was done, it was done.
Did you post this up anywhere? Because I don't see it on your feed.
No, I haven't posted it up yet. I haven't delivered the product. I need to go ahead and finish it, and then it's ready to go. Jersey at night, it gets really cold. It's very hard to finish anything outside, and I really don't want to do it inside. So I was hoping to do it today, but I was on dad duty. So hopefully tomorrow when I get home from work, I can get those sprayed real quick, dried, and delivered before the end of the week, which is the goal. So there was 3 of those flags. I know they're custom. I had engravings on back. I got the engraving depth just right, so I removed the paint and before the wood and not char the wood because I paint with black. So
Okay.
I got the natural wood showing through, and it pops out from the black. I got the front engraved because now I engrave where the white part is and the flag. That way I can use the laser engraver and not have to worry about the CNC again, messing up the details. And plus with the laser, I can actually see a preview of where I'm going to be laser engraving. So with these things in mind, it saved me a whole bunch of time. I got the process down, and I was able to use both my favorite machines in the shop, and it produced some pretty cool, unique flags. And now I've seen Nick; he's done similar things in the past, and other people. But for me in the shop, this was something new. So I got those knocked out. I just had to finish them, as I was talking with AJ. Also did the plaque that I was carving out in my latest reel. Got that engraved. I went ahead and there's actually names that are going to be hanging underneath that. Got those made and engraved and finished. The last thing I got to do is I think I'm going to take 550 cord and drill a hole in them and then do a knot at the bottom, a knot in between each one, and basically allow that to be what hangs.
You said 550 cord?
Yeah, it's like parachute cord.
Okay.
It's something we use in the military all the time. And I think because this is this military working dog plaque, it'll go very well, especially if I choose the black version of it, which I already have. So, I mean, like it shouldn't be too hard. I typically use a black chain with these plaques, but I think this is going to go well. It's going to be a little less heavy, and it's going to go with the theme I'm going with.
Okay.
And that's going to be made of all cherry. It's beautifully finished. I just have to drill those holes and put the 550 cord in. And then moving on to, I actually started and finished the plaque same day, finished it, dried everything. And the gentleman came to pick up, and he was like, man, I could not ask for a better plaque for this price. Like, he just went on. He's like, I came from Ramstein, and like, you couldn't ask for a plaque like this for, for the price you gave it. Usually it's $150 or more. And I'm like, yeah, man, come on back. Nice. You know where to find this price point, it's not one of my largest plaques. It's not even medium. I call it one of the smaller ones. It's the ones with the schematic of the aircraft. And this particular one was a C-17. And I mean, he loved it. He ate it right up. I'm hoping to get more orders from the maintenance community, which is where the order came from. Nice. So, new avenue. People are, starting to notice that, and that's, like I said, one of my favorite plaques to do. It really hits the flight engineer background for me in the maintenance background. So, it kind of hits a couple points. And then what else did I work on in there? Hit on that. I have a very large plaque to do. It's 24 by 18, and it's actually going from the New Jersey Police Department to California. I've mentioned this before, and I made some design choices I want the client's approval for, but I have yet to get approval for it, and it's been a little while. So I continue to try to hit him up, and I really want to get it out because it's supposed to be a gift, and I want to make sure that it arrives in a decent amount of time. The design difference was he wanted the New Jersey Police Department badge and the California Department badge to be, pretty much in line with each other, and then have a blue stripe between them. So what I did is, in a personal message on the bottom, so I designed a plaque that basically has a flag that would be lined in the background. You would have the badge here and a badge here, left and right, and then a blue line coming down the center of them on one of the stripes, and the normal stripe it usually lands on, and paint that blue. So it would be like a superimposed flag in the background, blue stripe, the badges, and then the below would be the personal message. And just one of those times where I really want approval for it because it's not too far from the original thought or idea, but there are some other design elements in it that I wanted to make sure it visually appeals to my client. So it's a waiting game. And I get kind of impatient with this because I already have to glue up. I basically have everything ready to go. I just need to go send it at this point.
Okay.
And I just need a yes. that's all I need. So
is that going to be a horizontal flag with a vertical line or a vertical flag with a vertical blue line?
it's a vertical plaque, so it's going to be a vertical flag.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
So, I mean, I think visually it really going to pull everything together, and I didn't want to take away from both the badges, and I wanted the blue line to show through. So I think outlining is the best option there. Of course, I'll give him the option to paint the flag, but I really don't. I mean, personally, don't think that is the best choice. But I mean, like sometimes the client knows what they want, and you got to make sure you offer it. So, yeah. And then I started on a new shadow box that should be going out to, it's either, pretty sure it's Alaska. I got to check the address again, which is a whole new element that I'm kind of nervous about. If it's truly going to Alaska, like I'm pretty sure it is, that's a long way to travel. That's a long way for a box to get flown around, kicked, toppled. And that's definitely going to make me quite nervous waiting on that delivery. So actually, it's not due until March, but I already got the glue up for the facade. I need to get some more walnut, and then I'm just going to get it knocked out and get it out there because I want it to go as quickly as possible over there. That way, anything that happens, I can correct before their actual retirement. Because these boxes, like they are the center of their retirement. Like if you ever, my first one, I actually hand delivered the day of the ceremony, and like there's gifts and plaques, and they put it dead center of that table, and people are pouring over it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people are going to see that. But yeah, long story short, I got quite a few things cooking in the garage, and it's coming together. The shop's, trying to keep it clean, but it's never the case. Dust collection is a thing. You got to make sure you empty once in a while. I forgot to do that, and it kind of backfired on me. So make sure you're going out there and getting that knocked out once in a while, and stay safe out there. But with that, let's go ahead and kick it off to let's go with Nick.
Well, man, I've got a lot of stuff coming due soon, and all my materials have arrived, thank goodness, because I've been ordering acrylic from makerstock.com, and I just kept so the order that I was planning on making kept expanding, so I had to keep ordering more and more stuff. But everything's arrived. I've got some minor projects to do to finish up this week, and then next week is going to be straight up balls to the wall, larger signage that I'm going to try and knock out all in 1 week. We'll see if that happens, but I'll at least get most of it done. But otherwise, my shop is sort of clean, so I spent some time cleaning up. I did remove most of the sawdust from the floor, which was a feat in itself. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I just got tired of dropping something and it disappeared. So it's like, you drop a screw in sawdust, you're screwed. Literally, no pun intended. You can't find it.
That's where you get magnets, man.
What, magnet screws?
No, get a big magnet to keep in your workshop. So when I drop something, I take that thing and I wave it around, and I get everything I dropped from the last 4 or 5 projects.
Okay. Then you just sift through the remnants and see if you got your stuff, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, I do have to do some minor maintenance to the laser. It's nothing. It's more like preventative maintenance. Plus, I got a upgrade kit, the same upgrade kit Josh got for his laser for the lenses, and we want. Excuse me. I'm gonna start applying those new lenses to different projects. But honestly, since I upgraded the air assist, I haven't really had any problems at all. I haven't had any, like, you know how it used to be with like the stock air assist that you might not cut through a piece on the 1st pass. Now I don't have to worry about it. It just does it. Just plowing through stuff, keeping going. And I just got a guy who placed an Etsy order for a plaque. Well, actually, it was a flag, plaque, whatever, with acrylic and wood. And it was set to be due by Friday and shipped by Friday, because I typically prioritize my Etsy orders and have them out a day or so prior to when they're due. But he hit me up on Instagram, was like, hey man, I follow your page, or I ordered something off Etsy, and it needs to be here like sooner than what the date is that Etsy says it's coming. And I was like, okay, well, like when do you need it? And he was like, pretty much like immediately. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. It was almost done. I just needed to complete a couple more things on it, and he's like, I'll pay for overnight shipping. And I'm like, wow. I mean, like, let's put it this way. So it turned a like $230 to $40 plaque or flag into like over 300. It pushed it up, and it went. I mean, like by all means, I will accommodate. I don't mind doing overnight shipping, and that's what I dropped off today, and hopefully he gets it tomorrow. Fingers crossed, UPS, right?
Next week.
I see how people wince. But no, I mean, like, as long as I bought the overnight shipping, it reflects as a tracking number, then, you know, I did my part. But I'm pretty reactive, or at least receptive to answering people on Etsy, because they're messaging me, and I'm usually within like an hour returning their message. And that's I think that's important, especially on that website when you're kind of removed from the process, unlike when you're taking orders through Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you're messaging people, you know what I mean? So you like have direct contact with that person. You take their order when you're on social media, but through Etsy, it just comes to you via email or whatever, and you check the website and it shows you what the order is. So, but that's why I try to keep the communication open with everybody. But other than that, that's it, man. I don't have much else going on in the shop. I'm excited to. I'm going to say it again. I am super excited to go to Workbench Con coming up in March, and yeah, that's about it. AJ, what about you, buddy? I haven't heard from you in a while, so.
Yeah, right. It's just everything's been going, you know. Still got flags to do. I still got so many projects that I have from actually last year, like last summer, that I kept on saying, like, I'll get to it. And the one good thing is I've had a good customer base where a lot of them, if they're not needed, if they're just for personal, they're like, just take your time. I'm fine with it, you know, and take as long as you need. Just keep me updated. I had this one guy, I said to him, I wasn't going to start it until June of last year. And I didn't start it until like, I don't know, October, November. And he was like, yeah, whenever, you know, I got one. That's fine. I got time. And then he messaged me as I got the one flag, you know, kind of started. He goes, I want two more. I want an American and I want a Puerto Rican. And I was like, oh, okay. You sure? And he's like, yeah, just take your time on it. So I had all these plans, of course. I had them dead set. I was like, I'll have them done, all of them, by the following weekend. And he's like, cool. Let me, you know, just keep me updated. And of course I got sick, and then, you know, I'm now down for the count. I had the flu, and the flu really sucked. And it was actually worse than COVID, I think. But he just ordered those two extras. So he's still on the docket to have flags made. But I have so many flags that I keep losing track of them. And then I look at my list and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to write down like this one. And now I'm getting orders for clocks. I'm getting orders for like keepsake boxes and whatnot, not like shadow boxes like you guys are making, but I just did one for Christmas. And, you know, a box is so simple, but yet so difficult at the same exact time, because you want to make it nice. You want to make it look not just, butt joints put together and some brad nails together and call it a box. I want, that cherry one that I did for state police, it was so easy to make, but yet in my brain, so hard to make. And once I just threw the wood on the table saw, I was like, let me just get to it. And I did it. And in no time, I had this box put together. I was like, holy crap, that was easy. So it's been, flags are my main priority, but I got some other things coming down the pipeline. I'm already set up for 2 upcoming craft fairs. One's going to be in May. That one's not too far from me. And then I'm going in September, down to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. And I'll be down there for the Pine Barren Maker Fest. That I think it's Pine Barren Maker. I don't even know their Instagram handle. And, but apparently it's a really good one. They just put it on, I think, for the first time last year. And I said, what, screw it. Let me just try it and see if I get accepted. And sure enough, I got accepted. So I'll be showcasing all my stuff down in South Jersey for the first time ever. It's 2.5 hours away. So it definitely a different crowd than what's up by us.
I might have to swing by and bug you.
Yeah, it's the 20. I'm not doing both days, unfortunately, because each day is $150. So
wow.
I was like, if the one up by my house is $150 for both days, and no fault on, the people who are putting this one on, because hey, if you could charge it and people are willing to pay, then more power to you. I just can't foot $300 for, a 5-hour round trip. And, so I figured let's just try it for one day and see how well it goes. And if we hit it off, maybe next year, then we'll do, both days. But, with the shop, everything's a mess. If you watch my stories, that everything is a disaster in that place. I still have I almost dropped that word. I have a crap ton of bubble wrap still, and it is still in my way. But, next? Not this weekend coming, but the following, Kim and I are going to be doing a full clean and purge on the whole house. And my goal is to get rid of everything and anything I can. So if you know anyone that can use a dovetail box joint jig, I have one brand new in the box.
No, you're not getting rid of that.
I'm going to sell it.
You know what, though? Now it's vintage.
Yeah, right? It's got some years and some sawdust on it. I think it's 3 years old at this point.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
I think I bought it in 20. And so I'm going to get what I want to do is I want to utilize that time that we have. Actually, we're taking 2 days off of work too. So I'm literally going to purge everything and anything that I can. If haven't touched it in a year or more, I'm either selling it or I'm throwing it away if it's, in non-sellable condition. But, there's a lot of plans to kind of get myself tailored in such a way that I won't have to worry about kind of working around my space. I'll be able to work in the space, because right now my space is just littered with all this crap that I have to keep moving and, do this project, then put this project away. And it's a circus when I have to do multiple things. But, just got a ton of stuff going on. The shop's always busy. I have zero motivation, and I take a lot of naps when I come home from work. A lot. I'm usually asleep the second I get home. But, hopefully everything comes back, and I can't wait for the spring and summer, and I kind of liven up a little bit more. The winter sucks. I'm glad we don't have any snow up our way. Right, Josh? You don't have snow down there.
No snow. I think we got one snowfall this year so far.
You got snow down there, Nick?
Thank goodness, no. If there was snow down here, there was snow a couple years ago down here, and it shut everything down for a long time. Killed the power grid, and a bunch of people died. It was bad.
We won't bring that up. It's too soon. But shop's always busy. Like I said, just got a whole ton of stuff that I'm working on. But Josh, you said something earlier about using the laser and CNC. I don't recall the exact words, but I wanted to ask both of you guys, are you noticing that you're using one machine more than the other, or are you utilizing both of them kind of equal? And I'll let whoever wants to go first on this hot topic.
Talk about laser and CNC. Which one do I use more, or is it equal?
Yeah.
So no. And yes, there is times. So that's a fluid question because trends change on things I make, and some of my projects I use just CNC, and it's good to go. I don't have to do any fine lettering and stuff like that. Actually, I started doing like personalizing things on the back of plaques for people that like want the CNC like logo or whatever that I make. So I guess I'll say that I use them about evenly, but I don't because that laser is so. I don't know. I'm all over the place, man. The laser is absolutely a key component. But I couldn't do what I do with the laser unless I had the CNC machine.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I ask because I noticed that I am gravitating more and more away from my CNC. The laser has become such an integral part to my everything that I'm burning through plywood like it's going out of style. I mean, I'm ordering boxes of plywood because I'm going like, oh, wow, I'm down to my last sheet now. And next thing I know, I have 2 more boxes showing up and I'm going through it like it's absolutely nothing because each flag, it not only sped up my processes, but it added a different layer that the CNC couldn't do. And if I get a project that I'm like, it's on the CNC, I actually don't like doing it on the CNC. I'll actually do like, I'll even do like hand tool work that I know I could do on the CNC, but I'd rather not use it. Let's put it that way.
Do you think that that's because there's a lot more setup time on the CNC and the noise?
The noise I could deal with because I put earplugs in and I'm done. And for me, the setup time, I've gotten it down to a science that, okay, I know if I, put the piece here, jog it over and set it up, because I always do dead center on any piece that I use. So I don't have to worry about it being off a hair. But the laser is so easy to literally set up. There is no setup. It's like turn it on, go into Lightburn, and next thing I know, I'm cutting. Yes, CNCs are quick and easy too, but there's a couple more steps that the CNC takes that if you don't do, you're gonna screw up. Like I completely forgot to set my Z height. I zeroed in the air. I don't know why.
You're running an air pass on that one?
I'm like, why is this thing not making absolutely no noise? I mean, it just was humming away, just the router's just going. And I'm like, oh my God. What I did was I zeroed it on a different bit because I like to use a pointy bit to get my dead center. And I forgot to, like a nice engraving bit.
A V bit?
Yeah. One of those pointy objects. Yeah. But
using a 15-degree bit to
exactly. I forgot to redo it. I think it was a bowl bit that I was going to do. And I'm like, this thing ain't cutting. I'm like, this is kind of strange. I thought I broke something or whatnot. No, I was just cutting air. But because of the laser, you do have to set the height, but kind of if you're running the same material, that thing's just going to go. And Lightburn, my CNC program is nothing like Lightburn. Lightburn is the only thing Lightburn misses is spell check. And that screwed me a couple times.
Yeah, kind of wish for that. That'd be nice.
No regrets.
Yeah, but I don't want to steal this show. I want to hear from Josh how he's doing with his mega 1,000,000-watt laser over there. Probably
1,000,000-watt.
Destroying
big
the power
laser
grid.
Owner here. Just my neighbor's power grid. No, I will say that I do use the CNC less than I used to before I had the new laser in the shop. And that's a simple calibration of like capabilities, right? So, I mean, with the laser, I can cut material. I don't usually try to go past a 1/2 inch. If I can. I've done inch before on the laser, but it takes forever, and it's not really meant for that. So 1/2 inch is kind of where I keep everything. And if it's past that, I throw it on the CNC and it cuts it out. Perfect example is that reel I just posted. That's 3/4 material. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it on the CNC, have it cut it out. And then I can clean it up, throw it on the laser and get the engraving. I will say setup is definitely something, going back to my flag conversation when I talked about my shop, if you don't set everything up perfectly, it could bite you in the butt later.
Oh yeah.
But that's on the user. It's not the CNC. There are different ways you can do that. I've been using, and I used to get on Nap for this, or Nap, not Nap, Nick for this early on, because he's like, I just do everything manually. I manually adjust my Z and X and Y and everything. I'm like, why don't you just use the probe, man? Well,
because it's an extra step.
I don't know why,
I was
but
the one who used the probe.
oh, was it Nap that wasn't used, or who?
Nap wasn't using the probe or the touch probe.
Yeah, I stopped using it.
No, it was AJ. It was AJ.
I never.
Oh,
ever.
It was AJ. It was one of you guys.
And I couldn't get it. Literally, I'd watch, because in the program that I use, you have to set how high the bit is above the touch probe. Like, I thought it would have just went down until it touched. No, this one jogs itself each time you hit the button. And I was like, screw this. I'm just going to keep setting it the way I want to. I'm not doing anything that's precision.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, okay, you can use the CNCs for very precise things. I mean, like, there's no doubt about it. But that's what I got the laser for. I mean, like, the laser could do very precise engravings, and it can even cut out very fine detail. And, like, I look at it this way. The CNC will cut things down to the general shape, and then the laser will finish it off. And that's kind of where I kind of been doing. Even for my my facades for the shadow box, it will get on the CNC. It cuts the facade out, and then cuts the like a 1/8 inch pocket for all the stripes. Then I'll go clean that up, and then it will cut out the stripes, get all that. But the laser is going to cut out my plexiglass. It's going to cut out my foam. It's going to cut out basically anything else that it can. Because, I can have that happening at the same time. And also, it's just easier. I'm not going to try plexiglass on CNC because, well, you can do that. It just takes longer. I can do it one pass and be done. You know what I'm saying? No chipping, no cleanup. It's clean. It's easy. It's fun. It's the laser from Omtech. Anyway, so to answer your question, I do use the laser quite a bit more than CNC, but the laser still gets use. It's just a matter of, what I'm doing. But there's days and there's weeks where it stays quiet, unfortunately. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the other things you got to think of, and it's not a lot of material, but with the laser, you're saving material too, because you're not having to worry about if I'm using a 1/4 inch bit. Now, each side of that's a 1/4 inch cut. And so, I mean, if you're really trying to squeeze things together, the laser is key to that, because now you can get objects so close to each other that little fine laser is going to really be able, so you can nest everything nice and you can save material and save costs. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Ben Warren, one of our Patreons, actually brings up a really good point. He asked, does the laser give you 3D modeling? Not that I'm aware of. And, the CNC does. That is definitely something I'd like to dive into sometime too. 3D modeling. I have a project that my uncle asked kindly for it during the summer of last year. And it is a 3D piece. I don't know how to create a 3D piece and then carve it. So I'll be reaching out to him because he is the master, and hopefully learning a thing or two here sometime soon.
Yeah. One thing that you were talking about the laser was that you can, how did you word it? You can see where your project is going to be with the laser because you could frame it. I wish on God's green earth that they had that feature on the CNC program. Just frame a square. That at least I know.
We should propose that to Daniel from PWN CNC, see if he can come up with something, because you know what? I agree. Because, and I do bring something from AJ's experience to the table with my CNCing, is I find myself more and more, if I need to be exact, going to the middle of the project and utilizing that feature. But basic cutouts, I don't typically do that. For that plaque, again, I talk a lot about this reel. It's not that important, but it's helping me kind of show you guys visually, that reel exactly what I'm talking about. And I actually centered that for that CNC.
Mhm.
And I was able to literally cut that out with having like a millimeter on both sides of it just get
Yep.
shaved down and a pass on the sides. And you can actually see that in the video because I use a pretty large quarter bit doing that. And like, I was nervous. I'm sitting there like, if I didn't do this right, one side's not going to be the same. It's going to be a little
Oh,
flatter.
yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know, centering it definitely helped. But yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, depending on the project you do, you're going to do more, you know, CNCing, or you're going to do more laser engraving. I think we all enjoy the laser because, well, it's just easier, it's cleaner, you don't get all the sawdust. You know, it vacuums all that stuff out and into, you know, outside the garage. And, you know, it's easy setup and the detail's amazing. But not everyone has those things. So, you know, they're using hand tools and whatever else they have in the garage. And you could definitely do pretty much everything we do with our large machines without them. It's just a nicety, and it definitely helps with time. So,
Oh yeah, big time. Well, that was good laser talk. I believe
it was
that you
definitely
have some that you have some spicy topics you want to talk about.
Well,
No,
let's go
we
ahead
have
on that
questions.
question real quick.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, question topic.
Yeah, so we had into the Sawdust Nation podcast inbox, excuse me, Jeremy Cole from Cole Amplification sent us an email, and I'm going to read it to you guys. It does have a question at the end, and it's a very good question. So I want you guys to answer, so at least we'll go around the table and see what we can come up with here. So Jeremy writes, "Hey fellas, I've been listening to the show for about 6 to 8 months now, and I think it's great. Although, to be honest, when I first started, I thought to myself, why am I listening to this? Most people do that, right? But why are we even listening to these guys talk?" And he said, "These guys spend the whole time talking about CNCs and lasers. Well, recently I've come to the conclusion that I need a laser. See, the subliminal messages worked. Anyway." And he's like, "Let me tell you what I have going on in my shop. I primarily build guitar-related projects, mostly amplifiers and effects pedals. It's multidisciplinary work, from wiring and soldering to metalwork, steel and aluminum, and woodwork. The issue that I'm having is that I don't have a professional-looking way of adding control labels and graphics to my steel control panels and die-cast aluminum project boxes. Currently, I'm using clear vinyl stickers printed on my inkjet and then sprayed with clear urethane. It just doesn't have the professional look I'm after. I figured if I could etch the painted metal, that would give me the look I'm after in order to go from strictly hobbyist to opening up for business.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm on a budget, and the most I could justify to spend is around $500. The only machine I can find in that range is the Atom Stack A5, which is a 20 to 30 watt diode laser. My question is this: do you guys have any advice on this? Is there a better laser that fits my budget, or is this thing as good as I'll find? And would I be my money, or is this going to fill a gap until I can get some return on investment and upgrade to a better machine? Thanks in advance, and keep up the good work, Jeremy Cole." So, Jeremy, thanks for writing in. That was a great question, and I'm going to give it to AJ. He's our guest. Go ahead, AJ.
Oh, it would help if I unmuted. But the Atom Stack, actually, a buddy of mine who lives not too far from me, he just got the Atom Stack. I think at X20 Pro. So that one's a little bit higher power than this one, that the A5. But I was looking at some videos, and these things are actually really, really nice. They cut through, I think, 1/4 inch or even thicker than that in one pass, and it's a diode, and pretty quick. From experience, the diode that I had, the Ortor, it took a long time to cut through 1/8 inch Baltic birch, even with upgraded air assist and whatnot. And honestly, the technology that's coming out with diode lasers now, honestly, I would say go for it, especially if it's going to do what you need to. I mean, you're just engraving paint away on a flat surface. I can't see it, taking too much power. And I don't think you'll need a CO2 for that or a fiber, because I mean, I guess it's just the paint that's coming off of it. You're not technically etching the metal. So I would say go for it. If it's going to fit your budget, fit your space, and do it. Pull the trigger. Do it, because if you don't, I'll tell Josh to tell you to do it, because that's the only way he got me to get a laser.
Do it.
That's it. I can't thank him enough for pushing me to get that laser. That Ortor opened the door. I did rhyme there.
Gateway drug into lasers.
And it was, yes, it was, because then I used that for a little bit, saw the capabilities of a laser. And then once I got my overpriced shelving unit, which was the OhmTech for a little bit, then once I even started using that just opened up so many possibilities and really opened my eyes to go like, wow, a laser was really, really needed. So honestly, fit your budget, fit your space, buy it.
Josh?
That's a good answer. Okay. So a laser is always going to increase your capabilities in the shop. I don't care if you're a hobbyist. I don't care if you're going for, the side hustle, if you're going full time. If you can't afford to go ahead and get a decent size bed on a CO2 and a CO2 laser that has, decent wattage, then the diode will definitely come into play. I just looked up this laser because I've actually never heard of this brand before, and I was curious.
Yeah,
and AJ, dude, I agree 100%. These diode lasers, it seemed like they came out of the woodworking because when I first looked for my laser, these brands didn't exist, or I didn't know of them, and I definitely went down the Amazon rabbit hole and bought the China version. But not only do they look sleek, they look functional. And for this Jeremy, I'm telling you now, hopefully you're listening to this on release day, they have a 40% off the one you're looking at on the website, and it went from $500 down to $300.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll write you an email back and send you the link, and hopefully you can go ahead and purchase your laser that you're looking at for, $200 less. And, I encourage you, if that's the one you have your eye on, go ahead and do it. It's very capable. I'm looking at it right now, 40 watt for a diode laser. That's pretty impressive. I don't have any experience dealing with diode laser that's that high in wattage.
I will say the only thing with diode lasers is they kind of falsely advertise, because when I got my Ortor, it was a lower watt. Then I upgraded the head to a quote unquote 20 watt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's technically not 20 watts. It's milliwatts. The Atom Stack, they're saying that, because when I was watching the video, they say it's 4 diodes that push out the laser. So they're claiming that it's 40 or 50 watts of power. Meanwhile, it's really not. You're getting, I mean, of course, if you put it up against a CO2 and this, you'll see the differences. But I mean, the one that I was looking at, it cut through, I want to say 1/2 inch, one pass, but it burnt the hell out of it because it was going so slow. So, you got a give and take. With the diodes, yes, you'll be able to do certain things that, our diodes, Josh's and mine, couldn't do, but you're going to do it at a much slower speed. If he's just wanting to engrave on some metal, I'd say go for it. I keep saying it, but
yeah, it depends on the type of metal. But in this particular case, for what he's going to use it for, yeah, it's definitely a no-brainer. There are other brands out there you could take a look at. But I'm looking at, like I said, the exact one. And for your case, if you still wanted to spend $500, you can get the honeycomb that comes with it. You could also get the extension to the kit, which gives you a larger cutting area. So it's definitely a deal right now.
Oh yeah. Nick?
So
I agree. I mean, anytime someone wants to venture into the laser realm of things, I encourage it. And I think that for his application, it's spot on. It'll just take the paint off. But
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen once you get that diode laser, right? I'm just saying, you start
Oh,
the
yeah.
machine, you're going to start the machine, and you're going to be like, oh, man, this thing is taking forever. I'm going to go get a CO2 laser. And then you're going to be like, oh, man, okay, so should I get the 60 watt, the 80 watt, or the 100 watt? And we all three have owned at one time one of these, or so what's it? AJ has the 80, right?
Yeah.
I had the 60, and Josh has the 100. And for the speed, I mean, if you're trying to turn out a product, I'm not trying to sell you on a CO2 laser, but if you're trying to turn out a product like mass produced, then the CO2 I would think would be the way to go, just to take pain off. But if you're doing onesie twosie guitars and it's like taking a while to make it, and you know you're not in a hurry, heck yeah, man, go for it. That diode laser is you're gonna get your money's worth out of that laser. Your return on investment will be fairly quick. So.
Oh yeah. Here's one other thing, that if he's making guitars, he probably has. I know he said amplifiers too, but if he's in need of guitar templates, if he was to go down the deep dark rabbit hole of a CO2, now he could cut out templates and kind of mock it up without going through the extensive process of gluing up all this wood and cutting it. That's how I would think of it, that you have more capabilities. So, but if your one end result is just these metal plates, the diode's where it's at. If you wanted to expand, I would say go big and just get a CO2.
Honestly, so for the size of the plates that he's doing, I would venture to say that it would probably benefit him more to get a fiber laser, because, and here's the reason, because now you don't need to paint, right?
Yeah.
And you can etch onto the metal and clear coat over top of it.
Yes, but now we're talking about a $1,500 increase to his budget minimum.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying, if he say he gets the diode and he starts falls in love with the laser process, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're right on.
Eventually, he's probably going to want to be able to do bare metal, or at least some sort of polished metal to make it reflect, because just to add another aspect to his guitar making.
Absolutely, 100%. To that, I was thinking about a fiber laser. Now, in your honest opinion, would you, if you were in his spot, would you go fiber or would you go CO2? And here's the reason for the question. Fiber, you're limited by what you could do. A CO2 has a lot more doors that you could go down. Okay,
so what's my budget? That's going to be the determination.
That's exactly
here,
what
right?
it is.
All right. So you have 500 that you want to spend right now, but if you see the possibilities of getting something that's maybe, because you could probably get into a CO2 for what, 2,000. So let's just say that you could justify, you're comfortable spending 500, but you could justify 2,000. What would you get?
2,000 for his. You can get a fiber for two.
You can? What?
It would be a lower watt fiber, but
it's going to be a lower watt, and it's going to be the smaller working area. And to be fair, I've looked on Marketplace for fiber because I really want a fiber. I really want a fiber, and there's actually one not too far from here. It is a couple hours, but they're selling. I think it's around $2,000, and it's a higher wattage one. It's been lightly used, but
lightly used.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, but you can already tell the guy has it set up in the pictures and whatnot, and it looks clean.
It looks brand new, lightly used, or Mia Khalifa lightly used.
Looks brand new, lightly used. Okay. But I mean, the only reason I haven't pulled the trigger is because A, I don't have space for it currently, and B, the shop budget is not there for that big of a purchase. But I mean that's a resource too. If your budget is crunching, look, I found a Glowforge, for the price I did. I mean, they're out there, those deals. You just got to keep looking.
I'm going to amend my answer to, hey, look on Facebook Marketplace and see what you can find before you decide to pull the trigger on the laser. And you'd be surprised.
You would be, but now lasers, especially if, let's just say, I mean, we could go down a deep dark rabbit hole. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, moving on. I think we all our consensus is all three of us to just buy the laser and just do it, and then get a CO2 or fiber.
All right, what's the topic, Josh?
Okay, so I got two topics. We got a little time, so we're going to do the smaller topic, and it's branding. Okay, we've talked about this here and there on the podcast. We kind of hit it on the head in the very beginning, but personally, when it comes to branding, I've actually kind of pulled away from doing it on my projects. Not because I don't have the capability, not because it takes too much time, but sometimes in some plaques and stuff, it just doesn't look visually appealing to put it on there. Because, my plaques, I use the front and sometimes I use the back as well. And, the messages and stuff like that. And you know what? So I'm pumping things out so often. It's just, I just don't do it. I haven't done it in, a while. And I almost, I was about to do it on this last plaque that I was giving out on the same day. And it just, couldn't find a good place for it. I don't want it to take away from the plaque itself. I could just be silly for thinking this, but my work has been talking for itself. It's still the word is still getting out there. People are still pushing people to the shop, but I mean, it is something that I like to start doing again. It's just something I got away from, and I'm just curious if you guys are on the same page as brand everything, brand often. Or you're kind of like, some things branded, some things not, or just where you are in your journey when it comes to branding.
Okay, so
I feel like I'm getting a lecture from my dad. Should I sit down?
Yeah, right.
You should be branding as much as possible, and if not branding the piece, you should be including a business card or a sticker in every box you send out.
And that is exactly what I do.
All right. So that being said, anybody ever get those like cheap, shitty little pieces of furniture or whatever from the store, like Big Lots or whatever, and it has a little sticker on it that says "Made in China"? I want to get some mini stickers and put my logo on the mini stickers and just pop it in the corner of on the back of my plaques. And the reason for that is it takes zero time to do that. I just have to keep the stickers away from my youngest son because he'll just post them everywhere.
Oh, nice. That's a small one, Josh. I'm surprised. I thought it was bigger.
I got bigger ones in the drawer.
Anyway, so, but B, etching your logo into the back of something is cool, right? Mm-hmm. However, it takes more time because then you got to put the entire piece back on the laser, and nobody got time for that. Yeah. So what I started doing before, on all my shadow boxes now, I do a laser etched cutout, like in an oval. And I CA glue that to the back of the shadow box. That is specifically for my shadow boxes because I have room to put it on the back there. So, if anybody wants to be like, MPG Creations, then they Google it, they'll find me. Mm-hmm. But Josh's little stickers, if he wanted to, he could put his Instagram or whatever on there or his phone number. Those super mini stickers. I mean, as long as your stuff's on there and they know who. So the reason for that is somebody sees your stuff down the line and they're like, mm-hmm. Where'd you get that? Oh, I don't remember, but the guy did a great job, didn't he? That doesn't do anything for you. That's not advertising for you. That's not getting you that return on you put your heart and soul into this piece, and it's just now nobody knows who made it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I have. So anyway, what about you, AJ?
Well, while you're talking about that, would it be bad to put a QR code on there with your name, your company name, or would that be kind of tacky? Not on cutting boards and stuff like that, but on a piece that's going to be hung up. Because technically, if somebody said,
you should put a QR code on your sticker.
Yeah.
And then take you directly to people are going to tag your stuff wherever, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're going to be Crafted NJ. There's his Instagram.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. I actually did that for a buddy of mine. He wanted little coins, actually, like you made for me, Josh, a long time ago. You made them with my logo on them. Mm-hmm. I did his logo and also a QR code that he sent me. So it was he was going to hand them out at fairs. Instead of a business card or with his business card, he'd send that out because then he could have them scan it, and whatnot. He said, I'll give it a shot and see how well it works. But for me, branding has always been something that I always done if I could. If it was on a double-sided cutting board, then it's kind of like iffy. Where do you want to brand it? But thinking about that, there's a company out there, Booze Block. They make beautiful cutting boards. Where is their brand? Directly on the front of that cutting board. So what is stopping all three of us from branding something like a cutting board when, like, on the front? I mean, other companies do it, big companies do it. But, I never discussed it with the customer because none of mine have been like reversible. So I could use both sides. But yeah, brand everything if you can. And if you remember, because I've had some projects go out that I completely forgot to brand and then remembered it as I handed it off.
Yeah, that's happened plenty of times. And I think that's where it started. Honestly, I think where it happened was I forgot, and then I kept forgetting, and then eventually it became a thing where it was like, I don't necessarily need to do that because my work speaks for itself, good or bad with a client. But I do like the QR code. I'm trying to think of a way I can incorporate that into either my business card or a way people could just scan and go. I don't think on the piece is the best. I mean, like in some ways, yeah, it's great. People can use their phone and scan it real quick. But okay, it sounds corny, but I look at our woodworking like art, right? It needs to be pulled together in a certain way, and it has to look a certain way for it to go out and be satisfied, at least for myself, that it's a good piece and willing to give it out to the public. I like the coin ideas, inlaid coins and like maybe copper or whatever into different projects. But again, you're taking extra steps and time. And that's something, having a side hustle, time is everything. Like you manage your time to its fullest. So I don't know. In the future, I think I'm gonna start branding again. But if I do it, I'm going to do it a little classier. I'm going to go ahead and inlay something on the side or do a process. It would take a 3-second process to throw it on the CNC, and you can even do it on the laser. I mean, you're just burning gray material at that point. And then, create some coins or whatever, copper it may be, or something else, and having that on there. And it doesn't have to be your full logo either. Like I'm thinking about doing just trees, the 3 trees in the circle. So I don't know.
I've seen other people with that logo though.
Yeah, I came across one, and I can't remember who it was, but while you were saying that, the problem is, I would think you're the 3 tree guy. I wouldn't think North Country Woodworking.
Well, I got to figure something out then.
You could put your initials on there.
Yeah, you could, because then it might spark it. Oh, that's right, North Country Woodworking.
Maybe 3 trees. Oh, my original logo, the 3 trees in NCW.
Yeah. I still have that sticker on my bandsaw.
So I mean,
bandsaw.
I was actually gonna call you one day, Josh, because I was like on Instagram. I'm like, hey, this dude's got the same logo Josh does.
No kidding. I haven't ran into that yet, so I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's not like it's copyrighted or anything crazy, but I mean, like, I kept trying to keep it simple to keep easily recognizable. So I know AJ's searching for it right now. But yeah, I know. I thought about doing a brand redesign, but you know what? Not yet. Maybe in the future, I might add another tree to the left-hand side. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I've had this for so long. I like the simplicity of it. So
okay, I found it. It's Dom's Customs Cuts on Instagram, but
is it exactly
a little bit
like
different.
Mine?
No, it's a little different.
Good. That makes me feel.
It's not the same, but it's a little different. But it's like so close that I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like Josh's logo.
What's it called again?
God damn it, he's doing wavy flags too.
Dom's Customs Cuts, yeah. So he's like North Country Crafted in NJ.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's both of us and was like, "Yo, I'm going to steal everything from them." I'm just joking.
No, I think I come on now. I don't think I stole anything from us.
Look, it's like there is actually a North Country Woodworking in Pennsylvania. They are a cabinet.
There is.
cabinet maker. I don't know if they still are up. I know they had, unfortunately, a fire, I think, a couple years ago. I don't know if they rebuilt or whatnot. But I think I said this on the podcast. Don't start that rumor. Don't start that rumor. But I mean, there was a customer I was doing a last minute project for, and they started driving an hour. Like they were 35 minutes into the drive going to that location. And he called me and goes, I can't make it. The ceremony's too close. I'm like, where are you? Like, where does this need to be delivered? I'll meet you halfway. We'll make this happen. He goes, I'm on McGuire Air Force Base. And I'm like on the other side of that. And I'm like, I can deliver that for you. He goes, you're not in Pennsylvania? I'm like, no, man, I'm in Fort Dix. So, I mean, like, obviously having a unique name helps. I thought I did my research before I chose mine. This is becoming something completely different, but I thought I did the research beforehand. And when I chose mine, the only one else I found was in like North Carolina. And I was like, okay, that's far enough away. Like, I should be able to, separate myself fairly easy. Both our logos are different. He was an LLC at the time. I'm like, nothing to worry about here. But it goes to see it, show you, brand your stuff, make the effort and, find a unique way to do it and make sure you research your names before you start going down the rabbit hole. I think we could wrap that episode up.
All right. With that, we want to thank our main sponsor, PWN CNC, for making this episode possible. Daniel over there is in his workshop, like the elves in Santa's workshop, coming up with new toys for all the good little boys and girls. So check them out, pwncnc.com, for all the CNC needs. And use promo code SawdustNation981 if you want to save that 10% off your entire order. And next up, we want to thank TotalBoat for their continued support as well. So if you want 10% off your TotalBoat order, shoot us a DM and we'll get you hooked up. And next, I want to thank our affiliates, which would be Makerstock.com. Makerstock.com has some of the best veneers and acrylics. So if you want 10% off your initial order, use promo code Sawdust10, and they'll know that we sent you. And last but not least, OhmTech, you guys rock as well. We all love your lasers. All three of us, Josh, Nick, and AJ from Crafted NJ, own and operate your lasers on the daily. So if you're in the market for a laser, go ahead and give us a shout, and we will get you linked up with an OhmTech that fits your needs. And with that, I'm going to kick it on over to Josh.
So if you want to listen to our podcast, it's very easy. You can go ahead and jump on and type in Sawdust Nation Podcast in Google and, choose the podcast catcher that suits you. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can go to Pandora, any of the major podcast catchers, even some of the secondary ones. You can listen to the podcast. And you know what? If you're on Instagram, go ahead. Follow us on Instagram there on Sawdust Nation Podcast. We have a link tree and it directs you right to the actual hosting site for the podcast. And you can listen to 104 episodes.
Right to it.
Go ahead. And AJ will tell us how to contact us.
Well, you can send a message to the boys over at Sawdust Nation Podcast on Instagram. You never know who you'll get. You'll get Josh, Nick, or Nap. And you can also send them an email over at sawdustnation@gmail.com. And send them all your love.
Sawdust Nation Podcast.
Sawdust Nation Podcast. I haven't been on in a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a little rusty.
Okay.
So you can reach them at Sawdust Nation Podcast at gmail.com. You could send them your email. And you want me to do the Apple podcast with Walnut the Cat?
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Oh, okay. And if you want to leave them a 5-star review, because the cat that's was behind Josh, probably going to murder you tonight, just so you're aware. Yeah,
50-50 chance.
You never know with cats. They are little sneaky sons of bitches. Anyway, go ahead over to Apple Podcasts. Leave them a 5-star review, because the more 5-star reviews, the higher on the podcast list that they get put, and then they can give you all the content that you want. With that, I'm going to throw it over to, I guess, Nick. I don't know who I throw it over to now.
Before we throw it over, wait, man, thank you for jumping on and recording with us tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And don't forget, you should follow him. You should, like every post he has. And to find him is AJ from Crafted NJ and Instagram. And buy a flag from him. He needs more flag orders.
Thanks. Thanks,
With
man.
that, let's go ahead and toss it over to yourself for your final words, and then we'll toss it over to Nicholas.
My
Say
final
Nick.
words. I want to give a huge shout out to a buddy of mine who lives close. His name's Tom. He is Knives by Nuge on Instagram. He just went full time with Knives by Nuge, and I am beyond ecstatic for him. So really, congratulations to him. He's taking the bull by the horns and really running with it. So congrats, Tom. You're doing great things. Keep it up. And if you don't follow him already, go give him a follow. Check out his work. You won't be disappointed.
With that, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And with recent comments about Walnut the cat and mistrusting, I kind of feel the same way. I don't trust pussy. So, Josh.
Thank you for listening to the 134th episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast. We appreciate you guys listening in and letting us whisper into your ears. Regardless if you're making that cup of coffee in the morning, going to work, in the shop, or working out, we're just happy you're tuning in. And with that, go make some sawdust. Sawdust Nation Podcast out.
Bye-byes.
Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We talked a lot about this, a lot about that, a lot about Walnut
Lasers.
the cat.
Yes. You can never be too careful around cats because 1 second they will find your organs and step on them with their 1,000-pound little paws. And
Where are you
they'll be
feeding your
lurking in the
cats?
shadows. My cats
Are
weigh,
you
like,
feeding them?
maybe 11 pounds, 13 pounds.
Oh,
Not
wow.
even. Yo, they are, when they step on your like kidneys, you feel like you're going to die.